you for joining us.
Oh, carbs.
I know, I did it again.
Welcome back to Me, Myself, and I. We are going to be reading A Court of Mist and Fury, and this is chapters 29 through 40. I am Hannah/Spuds.
Sam Swags.
Sam Swags.
And I am Carbs. Let's get into it.
Someone want to ask me where you left off?
Hey, Sam Swags. Sam Swags.
Sam Swags.
Where did we leave off in our last episode?
Great question, Hannah. Thank you for asking.
Her name is Spuds. Do it right.
Okay, Sam Swags, where did we leave off in episode 5?
Well, Feyre finally got to visit the city of Valaris, which is the city that was untouched by Amarantha during her 50-year reign. We start learning about Feyre's mind flickering, kind of diving into that, and which High Lord it comes from. We get to fully meet Rhys's inner circle, also known as the Court of Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
The Bat Boys were introduced. I love the
So
Bat
we
Boys.
love- Who's everyone's favorite Bat Boy?
Cassian.
Cassian.
I didn't even have to think about it.
Wait. Who's everyone's favorite Bat Boy?
Cassian.
I mean, Asriel. I like Asriel
okay,
a lot too.
fuck, marry, kill. Cassian, Rhys, and Asriel.
Kill Asriel.
No, I would kill Rhys-Anne. Are you
Oh my
what?
god, what? Wait, hang on, let me think about this. Because I don't know if I would marry Cassian.
I would marry Asriel. He's quiet, he keeps to himself, he's independent.
I don't know if I'd marry or fuck Cassian or Rhys.
I would kill Rhys because whatever.
What? What?
I don't know if I would marry Cassian or I would marry Asriel, but I feel like I would fuck Cassian, but marry Asriel because I feel like he's husband material.
Yes.
Anyway, what would you do? Well, you're Feyre. I feel like
I feel
you
like
would marry.
you would marry Rhys-Anne,
He's kind of moody.
He
He's
is
a
moody.
little-
See, I don't want to be stuck with that.
which is why I would kill him.
But that's what I'm saying. Do I have the patience to deal with Cassian's tomboy
Joking.
fuckery? Like,
No, that's why you just fuck him.
Yeah.
And then you marry Asriel, who's husband material.
He's husband material.
not to me.
Wait,
Because
so
he's
who
too
would you
quiet?
marry?
I don't know. I can't decide between Rhys or Cassian.
You wouldn't kill Rhysand?
I would kill Asriel. I'm over it.
Whoa.
No. Asriel's a bit too much.
This is why we like the same music.
Trigger warning.
Y'all are out here killing Rhys and he's the lead in this book.
I'm sorry. Rhys-Anne, I apologize, but compared to Cassie and Asriel, I think he's so lame.
Yeah,
But-
he's kind of boring. Like, he doesn't really joke around. He's Mr. Smooth, but the other boys kind of have a sense of humor that I feel like Rhysand doesn't have, and I love to joke
See,
around.
Asriel's just as moody to me as Rhys.
I think he's just quiet. He's a little introvert.
I like that he's moody, like, personally.
But Rhysand's moody too!
No,
like,
it's
the argument's
different.
invalid.
It's different. It's a different.
Why am I
different.
getting ganged up on
No,
this?
it's because
This is
I
not
think
where
it's
I thought this was going.
I think it's because Rhys is slightly more explosive, and whereas Asriel's this, like, composed anger, like, it's like everything's boiling under the surface, and you just want to
He's a shadow singer.
make something with it.
There's so many other book boyfriends that do that better for me, that,
Yeah.
like, that's part of it. I can get, like, my moody, simmering, like, Toucher and Diamond anywhere else. Like, Asriel's not it for me.
Okay, if you had to choose one, who would you choose, Cassie?
Yeah.
Like,
Coming from the nest of this trio,
I
are we
know.
surprised?
if I had to pick one of the three,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna stick with Asriel. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
stick
gosh.
with that.
She's
Yeah.
such an Elaine. She's such an Elaine.
You guys are my least favorite people sometimes. Like,
I love you so much.
Well, shit, that leaves me with Rhysand. All right.
You
guess
wanted
it's
him anyway.
Feyre.
You can take the explosive moodiness.
I mean,
I feel like you could be the tamer to his brat.
he does have a plan.
Because you are very much Feyre. You are a tamer.
Tamer of all the wild beasts.
So-
Tame me!
For the record, we all did. For the
You know our
record.
parents are going to listen to this, right?
Oh, I'm so
Whose
sorry.
parents? Not mine.
Papa and Mama
They
swag.
still don't know how to tweet. I told you about that, Hannah, right? How my dad was putting the hashtags at the end of the words. and he would just like capitalize it, and he thought instead of doing the @ symbol, he would just capitalize the name. So no one told him.
Nope.
Honestly, probably for the better.
Well, yeah, because he's like tweeting at Trump and shit. And he just wrote Donald J. Trump.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
Oh my god, I missed you guys.
Alright, so anyway, now that I've been ganged up on for my preferences in the fuck, marry, kill category.
We love you so much. Hey, someone's got to take one for the team.
Yeah.
And you did it.
And you did it.
You guys
You're
can
a
fight
queen.
over
You know
Azriel.
what?
I can
Oh,
Swags. Thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my uterus. Thank you.
my vagina.
I'm not gonna say hard. It's like all the way up here. I'm an idiot.
Alright, well hang on. Let's
Recap.
gender bend. Fuck, marry, kill the girls.
Oh.
Amryn,
I
Feyre,
would
and
kill
more.
Nesta. She's such a bitch.
No, the Court of
Oh.
Dreams.
Oh.
Kill Amryn. I don't like Amryn.
You know what?
And we can talk about this in book.
I think I would kill more.
What?
I haven't decided why.
No.
She just, I don't know. Like, she just gets under my skin sometimes.
What? Why?
Oh, I love more.
I think, I would fuck Amryn, and I'd probably marry Feyre. She's pretty even, I guess.
Because Farrah's an independent woman.
Yeah, I don't know. I need someone who's gonna do her own thing. More sometimes annoys the shit out of me.
She totally drags Cassian and Azriel along.
Well,
I don't like that.
I can't be
Yeah.
with someone who plays games. I'm
That's, you know what, that's true, because at least
You know
Amryn might be a bitch, but at least she's straightforward. I feel like she would be really good in bed.
Fuck
You know
her.
what? I'm with you. I would murder more. I would fuck Amryn, and then I would
marry
marry
Feyre. You'd have to. That's the only one left.
No! I would kill Amryn, fuck more, marry Feyre.
Well, we're all marrying the same person.
Moore plays so many games that I wouldn't even be able to fuck her.
Right. You would think you had, but you hadn't.
We have to save this conversation for book 3 because I can go.
Right. And now I know why, because I've read book 3, so I know what you know, and you know that I know what you know.
So we'll save that conversation on why I don't like. I actually have people from every single Sarah J. Maas series that I hate.
We should rank them.
Of who we hate the most?
Yeah. Who's your favorite Sarah J. Maas character?
I can't decide.
Because you've
I
read all
really-
the books.
Oh, you say yours first. I can't decide.
Lorcan.
Oh, I love
Lorcan. He's in front of glass.
haven't read
Oh,
that.
I was
daddy.
contemplating. Okay, male, female, and then couple.
Oh, if it's couple, then it's Lorcan in the lead for me, and then he would be my favorite.
I think, yeah, I don't think they do it for me at the ACOTAR series. I think I prefer more of the Throne of Glass characters. Bryce might be one of my favorites.
I love Bryce.
Females. I think Rowan might be my favorite male.
He's that tattoo.
Which one? We love them all. And then couple. It's got to be someone from Throne of Glass. I just can't. I literally love every single couple from Throne of Glass. I can't commit.
I think my least favorite character, I'm so sorry, is Hunt.
Really?
Yeah. Unpopular opinion. I thought he became really boring in book 2.
My least favorite is probably Therian from Crescent City.
Are you surprised that my least favorite isn't Kale?
I love Kale!
See, I haven't read Throne of Glass, so maybe I should stay out of this discussion because I have a whole series of characters that I can't pick
You
from.
know what? We'll do.
love
What's your hot
Kale and
take?
Irene.
Favorite couple so far, least and favorite in so far what we've read from
In ACOTAR?
ACOTAR.
You know, I don't like anybody. No, I'm just...
All that thinking for that.
I really like Elaine. I think
Shocker.
I do like Elaine a lot. Least favorite.
Tampon. What?
Damn. I understand why Tamlin is the way he is. Like, I empathize with him, but can I just say Amarantha? She's like the worst human being ever written. Yeah, probably that. And then, I don't know, like, I always loved Sarah J. Maas's, like, little side characters. Like, the Fires, what's her freaking name in Crescent City? But I don't think there's a lot of little...
the fire sprite.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of little tiny...
Lahaba.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna say the Bone Carver is my favorite.
You know what? Honestly, that is such a cool character.
Really. Truly. Sorry.
She's got something in her eye.
And I think it's in my contact.
Don't cry.
Okay.
Don't cry.
Two tissues in here.
Actually, you know what? My favorite character so far in the series, because I hated Nesta up until this point, I'm only saying that because I know her from Silver Flames, but if I were to go back in time and gauge it from this point that we've gotten to in the podcast, my favorite character would probably be the Surreal.
Yeah, Surreal's a mess.
Because I love the pettiness of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love more.
My favorite couple, hands down, is Cassian and Nesta. I know right now in the book they haven't really like done much of anything, but it's like it's totally Pride and Prejudice energy up in there.
I actually have a bookmark in here for a bonus chapter that's really fun between Cassian and Nesta that happens in this book.
All right, so now that we went down a whole spiral.
That rabbit hole. So we finally got to meet the Court of Dreams, and we got a lot of backstory and context for Cassian's upbringing and Azriel's upbringing specifically. And that's when Rhys kind of drops the Hybern War to Feyre and the rest of the court, because he kind of offered her a job if she wants to stay in the Night Court away from Tamlin. She accepts.
Are we surprised?
No. Sorry, like where else was
she gonna go?
I was probably supposed to drag that out a minute or two.
So then one of their first missions is going to visit the Bone Carver.
The Bone Carver is in the jail for all of these heinous beings or I don't even know, what do we even call them? Not beings. They're just like
in trouble.
They're like entities almost.
Yeah.
Because some of them aren't even human or fae.
Yeah. They're just monsters.
Amarins.
Yeah. A whole bunch of Amarins.
That are not of this world. That's what we learn about Amarin, is that she's not fae, she's not human, she is like otherworldly. She doesn't eat food.
That is such a crazy concept to me. That she's just weird. She's from a different world. Because like, I don't know how when I view worlds, I already feel like it's so vast. And so the fact that she comes from a completely different world, my brain sometimes can't comprehend what that concept is.
I mean, I can't comprehend the moon sometimes. But no, I totally get what you're saying, because you think about all the different cultures and views and beliefs and values we have, even on our planet alone, to think of another that has food sources and beliefs. And
well, when someone says world, I don't even think of just our planet. I think of our whole universe. And when she says she comes from a different world, I'm imagining that she's coming from a different universe.
Galaxy.
I don't really understand that. Maybe I'm not supposed to. I don't know. I'm just but a me virus on a rock hurling through space. Talking about books. That other viruses wrote.
Made of trees.
Anyway.
So they go to the Bone Carver, they do the Weaver's Cottage. We have a little more insight about Ianthe and Rhysand and their backstory, and how Actually, you know what? Ianthe's the worst character.
You know what?
Yes! She's worse than Tamlin. I can hate that.
Oh my god, okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Ianthe, Tamlin, Amarantha.
No! I refuse. I'm not playing this game.
If you had to.
Amarantha, kill Ianthe. I guess I'd marry Tamlin.
Really?
I'd kill Tamlin.
I want Ianthe nowhere near me.
You know what? I might be on the same page.
I have to answer.
Oh no, don't like being on the opposite side now, do we?
See, my thought is, I really don't want to come anywhere near Amarantha if I have to avoid, because she's just awful. Like, I couldn't even be in the same presence
clearly
of her.
Amarantha has a sex drive.
Yeah,
so does Ianthe. She's just manipulative.
But I know that Amarantha's the worst. Ianthe is like, look how sweet I am.
I think I'd kill Amarantha and fuck Ianthe.
You know what it is?
And I'd marry Tamlin.
At least with Amarantha, part of my womanhood appreciates the fact that she was able to be a boss bitch and dominate. And I have a sliver of respect. Not a lot, but I'm like, the bitch got what she wanted, you know?
And Ianthe's like a full-on snake.
She is a snake.
There are talents to be appreciated in Amarantha.
Yeah.
I mean, like, she did just go behind Hybern's back and did whatever she wanted.
Queen Elizabeth II.
Oh, rest in peace.
Oh. Hey, so if you got it, take it.
Yeah.
But after that, where do we leave off?
Well, the last thing that happened was she sent a letter to Tamlin.
Can we just start calling him Tampon from now on?
Okay, fine. So she sent a letter to Tampon, and it was a breakup note. She's like, I'm not coming back.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm not coming back. I don't like you anymore. No offense. thank you for everything, bye. And then, yeah, and that's where we left off, is her saying bye to Tamlin for Evs. I mean, so we think, I guess.
Forever, ever.
I think we talked about the breakup a little bit, but how do you think, I mean, I know you know, but how do you think Tamlin will respond to this?
Not well. Oh my gosh. Like,
he's clearly got an explosive anger personality to him.
He's such an abusive person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him.
Mm-hmm. And overtly so. It's not even manipulative at this point. Like, I don't ever think it was. He just... I can't put my finger on it.
He's like one of those abusive people that you always keep coming back to because he has small good sides to him that you're like, oh, I deserved this, what he did to me. Mm-hmm. But it's like, no, you're just an asshole tampon.
Or had enough trauma to him that you can excuse the reactions to things instead of taking ownership for what needed to be fixed in his life.
Yeah.
To overcome it.
I think Tamlin, for me, is difficult just because he does validate even all the bad stuff that he does, and he comes at it with a lot of rationale, even though it's not appropriate. It comes from a place of fear and abuse and all these other very negative things, but in his mind, he's rationalized his actions.
It almost makes it worse, though, because then you kind of have a consideration for him.
You can't talk through it, you know? Like, no matter, like, and that's what we saw Feyre dealt with. Like, she's begging him, like, please, I want to go with you. I want to be a part of this.
I can do this.
I can do this. And he's like, no. Like, I'm keeping you safe. I'm preventing this. And, you know.
You know what I really hate about him? I hate that he saw an independent woman and made her dependent. And, like, could not handle the fact that she was an independent woman. And that's what he loved about her. And then the moment he had an independent woman, he did not like that she was independent. And could not believe that she could do stuff on her own. And that drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm sure we all get this on a personal level. Like, sorry, we're getting a little deep on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, like, every guy wants an independent woman until they get it. And then it's like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. Can you be a little more dependent on me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I think that's why these books are so great, or these types of series are so great, is they do shed light on the fact that women do get underestimated and don't rise to the occasion because the people around them just don't expect them to, and they just keep them around because they think they're not good at things, you know?
But it's crazy when she's proven that she is.
Yeah.
She's proven that she's an independent woman and she can handle her shit.
I think it's more pride than just keeping her safe than anything else.
I think that there's this weird attraction that men have towards independent women, and then
they get it.
They almost, like, want to tame them, in a sense.
Or I think they see that and they want to be taken care of by proxy. Like, I think it's more of a subconscious thing. Because I just can't get it out of my head that men just want women that take care of them. They want mother figures in their lives once they're adults.
Oh, so what you're saying is that because she's independent, it kind of it advertises her as a person who can
nurture.
Be nurturing.
Oh my gosh.
It's interesting.
And they complain when we have daddy issues.
I know, right? Where do the daddy issues come from? The men.
So you think, like, do you think that when Tamlin proposed and brought her back to his place and stuff, it was because his expectation was that she would soothe him from after everything that happened?
Probably, because she would be handling all the stuff in the home base, you know, like being the pretty little wife in the castle.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I never thought about it like that.
I think there's something subconscious that men want someone that can maintain a specific lifestyle.
You know, I would kill Tamlin. I take it back.
Actually, I changed my answer.
I keep the bitches alive.
Which one would you marry then?
Amarantha.
No!
Yeah. Amarantha I wouldn't have to take care of, because she can take care of herself, and she might be a little manipulative, but hey, get your money, girl.
I was listening to a podcast, let's get meta here, podcast and a podcast, and they were talking about roles in the households and how women, they always see, like, cleaning and these sort of tasks to maintain a household as an expectation, whereas men see it as they said a wish, but it's like a suggestion. I don't think that was the right wording of it, but like how we can come at the same thing with very different views about it because of our upbringing and our culture. But Yeah, that was just something I was going to connect on. We don't have to keep that in. I just wanted to share that with you.
That was so meta of you.
Yeah, it was super meta. Sarah has meta thoughts. There we go.
Now on to the actual chapters that we're supposed to be talking about.
We read chapters 29 through 40.
My favorite part that happens very early on in this chapter, it's just Rhys and Feyre walking back from their night out around Valaris, her getting a taste of the city. And Feyre hears some music in the background and pieces together that it's the music that she heard when she was under the mountain.
It's so cute.
It is. So then she realizes that Rhys sent it to her as a way to prevent her from, quote-unquote, breaking and having, like, an absolute meltdown as she was, Amarantha's subject and prisoner. And then Feyre also goes into detail about how she also physically saw the Moonstone Palace, too. But Rhys swore that he never sent it to her, that was not part of what he was doing in that moment. And I think that comes back into play later, that we will talk about in a later section.
Do you think someone else sent her that image, or...
Nope.
No? Okay. She just manifested a moon palace?
I can't say what my theory is just yet, because it'll ruin it.
All right. I mean, I don't really know anyone else with mind power, so he could be lying.
I mean, that's fair, too. That's a valid perception.
Because, he's done it before.
It's kind of part of his shtick is manipulating minds, like, whatever. So, I mean, he could just be lying, gaslighting her. That's not a great start, but...
That's why I'd kill him.
Just
saying.
So...
You never know with Rhys. So, I always shit on Tampon for this, the flip of the switch. Rhys kind of the same way, just a little more, like, passive.
I don't know. I feel like Rhys is always playing a game. Like, there's always a motive behind it, whether you agree with it or not. Tampon just does it because he can do it.
Okay,
I feel like the difference. Rhys, as we continue to learn, he's always kind of playing a game. There's always a couple moves ahead with everything he does, so he reacts to things a certain way to continue to get his means to his end.
You know
but
what
it's usually for the greater good.
He does what my psychiatrist tells me you're not supposed to do. You attach your emotions to your expectations.
Oh man, Rhys needs therapy?
Yes.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah,
Nobody's gonna know.
500 years old and he hasn't sorted out his shit.
So... we piece that together, but then one of the things as Feyre starts working with Rhys and the inner circle, as they're so lovingly called, she starts working out, building up those muscles from her starving, withering self in the spring court. She starts training with our favorite, Cassian.
More like Assian, am I right? Because that ass. Sorry. Felt I should elaborate. Continue.
So during this time, Asriel's also working hard trying to find a way to infiltrate the human realm, trying to get in contact with the mortal queens to try to get the other half of the book that they're looking for.
Feyre is sort of coming to terms with her current situation.
It's the first time she's decided to start processing.
Right.
From under the mountain into the situation she's currently in, how she got here.
Yeah, and her somewhat dysfunctional relationship with Tamlin.
I love you said somewhat.
Like, a lot. I like how Rhys introduces her to darkness in a way that's calming and meditative, I guess.
Yeah. This is the start of Sarah J. Maas in general, as we'll see throughout the series, really bringing attention to physical health and mental health being connected.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that Feyre has this epiphany while she's finally working it out. Cassian, I mean, I love my boy, but he's not very tactful, and his response was like, "You gonna tell us about that letter you sent Tamlin?" Oh my gosh. I love that man so much. He's so clueless.
That's why we would come and never marry him.
Right. That's just...
But we know that I like to fix broken things, so... Is he broken enough?
I don't know.
I mean, broken isn't the same thing as, like, missing parts. Like... Like brain
Hey,
cells.
but he's not missing the one part that matters.
That one part that matters, yeah. If you think with it, you're not very smart. So
okay, but I will stand by the fact it gets referenced later in the series, but I'll bring it up now. Cassian's the one with the biggest wingspan. I will die on that hill. It's not as real.
Is it measured? Does that happen?
It's joked about.
It's joked about, but he totally has the biggest wingspan.
100%. It's not.
He's got that big wingspan ego. If you know what I mean.
Big wings energy.
What would that be, like BWE?
Big wing energy?
No, BBWE.
What's the second B for?
Bat boy wing energy.
I love it.
Okay.
Bat boy wing energy.
I guess that's true. Not everybody has wings.
Welcome to the BBWE.
We should coin that every time we read a new series. Like, that should just be the threshold where they have bat boy wing energy. Moving forward. Shortly after she decides to start unpacking her trauma after, Cassian's tactless questioning of her, Rhys finally gets word from the summer course. With my favorites.
It makes me so sad what they do. Like, why? He was such a good guy.
Re-listening to it in preparation for this, it just hurt all over
again.
Like,
they could have changed tactics at any time.
And Pharaoh wanted to. He was so clearly genuine. And, Rhys clearly saw himself in him.
Why couldn't Rhys just, be honest about it, and then if he was mean about it, just go into his mind and switch some things around? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to tell you why we're doing this, but then I'm going to erase it from you for your own protection. No problem, right? I'm just saying, probably should have explored some different avenues before we decided on this.
They definitely did not work smarter. They
worked harder, for sure.
Rhys logic behind it, I can understand him wanting to play it close to the chest because there are so many questionable people. We don't know what anyone's alliances are at this point, but I feel like it falls flat. In this scenario, everyone is still rebuilding. Tarquin has not been in power very long at this point.
He's just a baby.
He's just a baby. A baby at 80 years old. So I think, he's so young, he's so eager, he's trying to come into his power.
He just wants to be part of the clique, man.
I mean, that would have been the perfect time to, mold him. He clearly, it wouldn't be molding because he already had those intentions. It's not like it would be a manipulative thing.
So part of the reason why I don't like Rhys is he is a textbook self-sabotager. 1,000%. Because I agree with you. Everything was in place so that Rhys could make a better decision. But because of his past history, kind of his perceptions of what people think of him, he's the dark king of the north or whatever, wherever the hell he's from.
This is Game of Thrones.
I don't remember all the names. There's a lot to remember with Sarah J. Maas. I know that affects him because we kind of see that throughout the series, is how, people's perceptions of him really tear him down. So he just does not trust anybody. He's going to do things his way or the highway because it's either he does it or it's not done right. And he's just a self-sabotager.
Which is so interesting that he's so willing to let Farrah come into the fold, that it's been the inner circle and just them functioning for so long with shouldering everything that he just lets her in almost immediately.
Well, and you said, you were informing me about thresholds. And
windows of tolerance.
Yeah, windows of tolerance.
Or you have a window of tolerance. It's almost like this box, and I don't remember what the specific terms are. I can put it in the show notes. Mm-hmm. But you reach a certain point of tolerance, and the moment that you cross that line, it's just constant self-sabotage, and you react very, brashly.
Mm-hmm. And my thought was, Rhys has been Amarantha's whore. He's been reviewed as all these things. He literally kept Valaris safe. He kept his friends safe and, talked through their brain or whatever to prevent them from becoming part of the whole Amarantha thing to keep them safe. He did all of these things for the betterment of other people, that putting Tarquin on his bad side is like a nick on his shoulder. It's okay to piss off Tarquin and not negotiate because everyone else hates him. He's already reached this path.
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point of even trying? I think that's, like you said, I think that's a big reason why he self-sabotages and why, he wouldn't even consider bringing Tarquin in as a collaborator.
I just had a realization that you brought up, Tamlin, that not only was Tarquin kind of like a smaller pawn, but because he's so close to the Spring Court, like they're back to back and they just generally have a better relationship, or at least that's what Rhys believes, maybe that's why he also kept him at a distance.
Well, and that was a big thing is when Feyre came in, one of the first things at least Crusada said, which by the way, I love the name Crusada. I'm going to name all of my kids Crusada.
Crusada 1, Crusada 2, Crusada 3.
You're right, Sarah. She totally called her out. And was like, if we're harboring a fugitive bride, we are obligated to return her. And held that, like, right off the bat, like, their first hour in the summer court. They're dangling that, and Rhys like, excuse you?
Okay, so maybe I have a little more forgiveness for the situation.
Right. It definitely drew that line in the sand of, like, just so you know, we could do this, and we are close with the Spring Court.
But
so,
you know what? That was smart of her, because that's a power move.
Yeah, oh, totally.
Because clearly she knows that they want something from them. Like, she might not know what exactly, but having that chess move to be like, hey, we're not just some pawn you can throw us around.
Well, and with such an untrained new High Lord.
She doesn't want people to take advantage of her brother, I think.
Good for her.
And a big sister.
But yeah, that brought up an interesting question, and to see Rhys get super protective of Feyre, we love.
I'm sorry.
We love to see it, it's fine. Touch her and die energy, we're a sucker for.
We definitely got a little hint of jealousy because
so much jealousy.
Well, I think it started with Feyre and Tarquin talking, where she's like, "You could be easy to fall in love with."
She's like, "You'd be easy to love, and even easier to be a friend, or something like that." Is the phrase.
So cute.
And Rhys was like, "I heard that."
She threw a shoe at me.
Yeah.
When I helped her.
And then he's like, I guess Crusada, would she invite him to her room, or she was just being super flirty?
They were just flirty. Tarquin has this big lavish boating event on the river of their beautiful little summer court town. So she's flirting up with Tarquin, trying to like get make a good presence with him. And Rhys is over there flirting with Tarquin's sister, Crusada.
It's the pettiness for me.
Oh, yes. And Feyre just, like, walks out. She gets, like, a day date with Tarquin to go look at all of their treasure troves, trying to find the book to see if it's there. And Rhys just completely ignores Feyre and is just completely flirting with the sister the whole time.
Well, and a reminder, she wants to go touch and like see all this stuff because they believe because she was made, she can sense where the item is.
Which is what she was doing the initial test at the Weaver with trying to find that ring. So she's testing out her abilities, kind of understanding how like the locks and mechanisms work throughout the kingdom to see if she can maybe infiltrate it.
Dude, what if Sarah J. Maas threw a total curveball in and Feyre and Tarquin ended up together? That'd be kind of cute.
I'd be cool with it.
Because you know how she's so notorious for having like one love interest in her series and then putting another one in, and so the first love is never the end game. What if she threw in a third one?
Well, and Sarah J. Maas is definitely a person, like, I knew that Tamlin wasn't going to work even in the first book, because the first time they did it, it was just like, we did it, and then it went on to the rest of the stuff.
So we're starting to see the heightened tension between Feyre and Rhys and all of their flirting and pettiness, and Feyre is also at this point realizing that she's kind of coming out of that depression hole at the same time because of her relationship with Rhys, or trying to figure out what this relationship is. Like, they're business partners. He's really flirty, borderline inappropriate. HR would have been called in at this point.
Definitely.
He would not be the CEO of this company at this rate.
Nope. Or would he?
Fair. In America, he wouldn't be affected, obviously. They're clearly flirting. She thinks that he's just using it as a distraction for her, to not be so in her head. But then when she loses it, she's like sitting there. I'm like, oh, I am kind of lonely. Oh, it's nice to feel feminine again, being able to wear dresses without the expectations of being stuck at home party planning the rest of my life. She's kind of finally...
She's Hannah Montana. She has the best of both worlds.
At the Night Court.
I like it.
So she's kind of finally, I think... After, the years of survival mode, the months of being traumatized and kind of being a round peg in a square hole, is kind of like, oh, I do like girly things, but I can still be involved. And I am lonely, and maybe there is something here with Rhys.
And I'm useful.
Mm-hmm. I'm important. I'm valued.
Mm-hmm.
We love that for her so much.
I love that Rhys pays her. I mean, like, he really doesn't have to, because he pretty much provides everything for her, but he does it anyways, so, like, it's...
And it's all equal pay!
I know.
We love that progressiveness for her.
Can't relate. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
At least
fine.
it happens in fiction.
Fantasy. Literally a fantasy novel. The most, like, fantasy aspect of this is the equal
equal
pay. Not even the wings, not, like,
Not the
anything else.
magic and, like...
It is the equal pay, honey.
person dying and then coming back as a fairy. No, equal pay.
Feyre is kind of stuck. It's pretty much all hinging on her at this point. They are there for weeks and weeks and weeks, and she's doing everything she can trying to figure out where this book lives. Kind of flirt with Tarquin, Rhys and Amren are trying to drag out these meetings as long as possible, but they're getting kind of stale at this point. And then all of a sudden, during the tide, Feyre sees this little house that was covered by the ocean most of the time. They piece together that is where the Book of Breathings.
I love this scene. This scene is so epic to me because it's like two women going into this boat to save the day.
So...
Or not boat, house.
Boat
house.
Rhysand decides to stand guard, with his big Illyrian Batboy wings.
He's so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Save us, Rhysand.
Well, he also does his little mind trick stuff across most of the summer court, which is kind of insane.
Mm-hmm.
He's so powerful.
Actually, speaking of mind trick, we should talk about how
Feyre utilizes her Daemati abilities.
Yeah.
Her, nosing around gets a little suspicious, and she is able to infiltrate Tarquin's mental shields thanks to her Daemati abilities that she has from Rhysand, but also by utilizing the little nugget of the summer court, too.
Mm-hmm. Seeing Feyre kind of tap into all these different abilities, and a big reason why this is important is because she sort of inhabited his essence. That's part of the reason why she could do the shape-shifting into Tarquin. I mean, like, Feyre's doing some dope shit in this whole section.
Well, and she has to keep it on the down low because the other people...
They don't know.
They don't know.
And they can't know.
How would they know?
How would they know?
They're gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know?
Sorry.
Oh, but yeah, throughout this entire section is Rhysand's when she wasn't training with Cassian, she was training with Rhysand, exploring what abilities she's each taken from each court. So, obviously the easier ones to tap into is the Night Court when it comes to the Daemati abilities, and the mind reading that she does with Rhysand.
And she talks about this, because she asks him in this section, she's like, is it because he's like one of the most powerful leaders of all time, up to date, something like that. She's like, so do you have more sway over my powers? And he's like, potentially, yeah.
So she's also unpacking, she's making little water animals.
Cute.
She, when she was training with Cassian, she burned through the sparring pads, which came from the Autumn Court.
Mm-hmm.
Fall Court, that's not
Fall Court.
Fall Court.
Fall Court. And the water ability comes from the Summer Court. She's kind of exploring all those facets of her ability that Tampon never let her do. Feyre and Amren are tasked with going into this little underwater sea shack. While Rhysand stands guard, they monitored all the guards, their routines, and they infiltrated. And Feyre is like blowing through all those
She's doing
locks.
all the work.
She is.
Yeah.
And thanks to her essence from Tarquin.
Yeah, when she went into his mind, she used his essence to shapeshift into him. Because I guess, like, the lead door is to... keep in the power. Mm-hmm. So, she has to be of the Summer Court in order to get through this door.
So they only have a really small window of time to infiltrate before the tide comes back in. Mm-hmm. So they finally, get all the way to the bottom, they get to the book, and the book is like, you're not it.
You're not Tarquin.
And you're not my mom. They're around the book just long enough, and then the tide starts to turn. And it's drowning them faster than they can imagine. So they're trying to climb stairs with water rushing down. I'm imagining, Titanic level shit happening at this rate.
I did the same thing. It gave me so much anxiety.
It did. Yeah, that whole section gave me so much anxiety. It's kind of cute, because, Feyre's holding Amren on her,
and, got the
piggybacking. And Amren's, holding up, trying to, get through the door with her cool power siphon theme bomber that she does. And they are this close to drowning.
Ba, ba, ba.
And that's when the
water wraith.
The Webby water wraiths, they come in, they get him out, they rip off the door,
and then she says,
get him out of there.
Our sister's debt is paid.
And they book it out of there.
And if you don't remember, these are the water wraiths from the beginning that Feyre saved from their tax from Tamlin.
The tithe.
Feyre, thinking that she's like flying through these doors and not setting off a single alarm, Rhysand's like, I've been fighting for my life.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's why they're like, where the hell's Rhysand? Why doesn't he realize we're drowning right now? And it's because he's literally fighting to save their secrets above the water.
Mm-hmm.
He did not think that job was going to be that hard. He probably wouldn't have taken it.
And the other thing, too, was there was something about that building which diluted their bond, so he didn't even know they were in trouble.
I think it was the metal.
Yeah, it was the lead within it. So it sort of, like, encapsulated her where she, like, could not connect.
They couldn't communicate through the bond.
Yeah.
That scene was epic.
Mm-hmm, it was.
Honestly, that might be one of my favorite scenes in this book.
Because it was so, like...
I don't know, it was just fun. And it was like, edge. I felt like a rush of adrenaline when I was reading it. I was like, yeah, bitch, get the book. And then the book was like, nah, bitch, don't take me. You're not my mom.
You're not my mom.
And then, flood! Mm-hmm. I don't know, it was just great.
No, it was a good... I actually was not expecting the race to... At least, like, I don't know, like... I
didn't think the karma was going to come that quickly.
Well,
I knew that it was going to pay off, and that's great. It was nice to see that gratification so soon.
Mm-hmm. I also didn't envision the race to be hanging out in the summer court. How would they have known?
That's fair. Yeah. Like, I didn't understand the logistics. Like, why are they paying Tamlin the tithe, but they're chilling
in the summer court?
But I guess if they said sisters, so maybe they are. They're just aware of just like that overall debt.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say like maybe it is like a regional thing. Like there's summer court race, but they're all connected as like it's all some giant.
Like I could totally be off, but my understanding is that like the wraiths band together. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they don't care about the court system. They don't care about...
Mm-hmm. It's like a school of fish.
So when you look at... That's really cute. But when you look... Okay, and also, like, side note, when you look at the map of Prythian in the book, I genuinely think that the summer court is always on the right and the autumn court's on the left. Whenever I look at a map and I realize I'm wrong, it drives me crazy every time. Summer court is above the spring court to the left. I always think it's to the right. Can't stand it. Anyway, so, but when you're looking...
Read a map, Sam.
I know. When you look at the map, depending... I don't think they mark Tamlin's place, which is unfortunate. That would be really helpful. I mean, they have ocean space, and it looks like where the summer court... What is that? Adriana. I mean, it's very close to the spring court, so logistically that tracks.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really don't know. Tamlin's town, like his house, we really don't know where that is. We know that it's got to be close-ish to the wall, but we have no context of what, like, it's a city, if it, like, what the community is. Like, there's never been a name to it, is there?
Because he never let her explore.
I always think of it like a British sort of village type thing, I mean, where it's like one big house,
like
and
the UK.
Yeah, oh yeah,
the map
a
looks like
1,000%,
the UK.
1,000%. I always see like there's this one big manor house, and there are all these like cute little villages around it, kind of like a
Pride and Prejudice.
You know what? It's a good series. It's solid. It's held through the ages. Give me a break.
I've never read it.
I've never read it either, but like I love the movies.
She's seen every version.
Oh my god, carbs.
Such a horrible fan. I've read like half of Pride and Prejudice.
So, Sarah, what are the consequences
of them fucking over Tarquin? Well,
other than my sadness.
Devastation.
Well, so cringy, you know? I feel like Tarquin's, aside from Rhysand, but I feel like at this point in the book, we don't really trust Rhysand 100%, but I feel like Tarquin, we genuinely feel is someone who wants to do good for Prythian and for making alliances and making it a better place. So that's why it hurts so bad. Yeah, so the dealio is they go back to the Night Court and they get a box of, I think it's a dagger on top, and it's a box of blood rubies.
They're like the size of chicken eggs.
Yeah.
They're goose egg size rubies. Yeah. 3 of them.
And the rule is, if you have committed a true crime against the Summer Court, what they do is they'll send you blood rubies to say there's a price on your head.
We're gonna come
We're gonna come get you.
Honestly, I like this part of it. I think it's so cool that it's like, you fucked me over, I'm gonna send a blood ruby to you. I just want you to know that I've got a hit out on you. It's very mafia of them.
God,
yeah.
it
is kind of mafia, isn't it? That is like, that's really like, here's something super expensive to show that I hate you.
Like, I just want you to know, you can't even cash in on this because you're gonna be dead.
I mean, but she did cash in on it. She got that gorgeous smoky diamond necklace from Tarquin. Like,
that's just again, and it was an heirloom necklace from the summer court.
Get it, girl.
And she still fucked him over.
But it's like, so like she got that, and just the frustration of her like not wanting to take it, not wanting to do that to him, and she literally put the jewel down in front of Rhys and is like, let's just tell him what's happening. She tried to be that voice of reason for them.
And Rhys just resanded.
He self-sabotaged, resand himself.
So then he's sitting there all mopey and moody and all like, meh,
what
meh.
a guy.
And I think eventually significant about this dumbass exchange is that she challenges him. She's like, okay, I'm going to draw a line here. Are you flirting with me? And he says, yes.
When are we going shopping?
This is hardcore flirt. Sorry.
Well, they finally fess up that all this flirting was intentional. Because, like, Pharaoh's been sitting here second-guessing it this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, is he doing it for a distraction? Is he actually interested in me? But also processing the breakup, because that's obviously traumatic, and working through those feelings. But she totally calls him out on it. And, you know, it was more Amryn that made the comment that she's one of the few people that was actually able to get Rhysand out of one of his moods so quickly. By threatening lacy underwear for Tarquin.
Oh, no.
I love how a lot of these types of books, like, the big thing is these, like, men who have this insatiable rage, and it's always, like, some spicy woman that's like, calm your titties. Like, and they're like, wow!
Let me show you my boobs and make it all
one
better.
ever has told them to calm their titties. It worked. How does that happen? Like, I think for the longest time, I sort of relate to this. I don't know if you guys have ever had a man in your life that's like super flirty, but like never pulled the trigger or anything like that, and you don't really know if he's into you, or if he's just like a flirt.
Yeah, that's every man.
Okay, fair enough.
So the last bullet we need to reference is Rhysand's nightmares. To realize that Rhysand and Feyre are literally two sides of the same coin, working through their traumas from under the
Now they're trauma bonding.
I have a question to propose to you ladies.
Oh, no.
Do you think he went to bed with pants on and the nightmare caused him to just shred them apart? Or do you think he just goes commando?
I think Maeva thinks that he goes commando.
I vote commando.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think Feyre's sleeping and then she feels this dark energy and it's very like windy and she can't see anything.
But she feels that essence of her because it's Rhysand, it's their abilities. The nugget.
The link, yeah.
She sees it and she goes out of her room, finds the trail, and it's leading into Rhysand's room. So she wakes him up.
Violently.
Literally ready to slit her throat.
Think of how bad he would have felt if he woke up and he just murdered the love of his life.
Pretty bad, I imagine.
I love how that's always like a turning point, though, and then that's when they gaze into each other's eyes. And
it takes him a minute, though. Like, he's still, like, even when his eyes are open, it takes a minute to register that he's awake and this is Feyre, and pretty nasty nightmare. She, like, grabs her hand and she's, like, trying to leave, and then I think she gives him a kiss on the cheek or a kiss on the forehead.
He thanks her.
Yeah, he thanks her.
He just thanks her.
For being there.
Mm-hmm.
It must be hard for him to accept, like, love, or at least, like, even consideration. I don't really know.
We love broken things.
Yeah, he's very, very broken man. And it's just this very tender.
It's a sweet moment.
I do love because she sees the tattoos on his knees for the first time because he has no clothes on. Like,
I think his tattoos on his knees are so hot.
That's pretty hot, and they're of a mountain with stars. And she asks him about it, and it means that he will bow to no one, which
for his kingdom.
I would totally kill Rhysand, however, I'd keep his kneecaps. But it's a good scene, I think.
It's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But then, after weeks and weeks of waiting to hear back from the Mortal Queens to get the other half of the book, they finally make contact.
Mm-hmm.
And Hannah, how'd it go?
I don't actually remember.
Bad. It went bad.
So quiet this episode. It was not great.
Yeah, it went really bad. The queens were a little stuffy, and they basically said, I mean, they all sat down, they're like, hey, war is coming. Like, we know, we don't give a fuck.
That's your problem.
We can sacrifice a couple of humans to save the rest of us. We're not on this island with y'all. Deal with it.
Yeah, like, this is a whole lot of not my problem.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000%.
Honestly, though, same. If someone came to me, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna help you.
Good luck.
Have fun with that.
And, you know, of course, they're like, you know what? It's so important you guys protect these human territories, because they're, like, right on the front line. It's where Feyre's family's house is, on the line of the wall. That's gone.
The queens, they're pretty much saying they're not willing to do it because they know of Rhys reputation, precedes him.
Well, yeah, they don't know anything about anything.
Yeah. So, you know, and then Moore is there, and she's trying to, like, I fought in the war. Like, she's using whatever her role was in that last big battle. They fought for the greater good.
She's trying to pull on the heartstrings. And it turns out they don't have hearts.
No.
I was pretty surprised at Moore.
I was too.
Because I was kind of thinking she was going to go a different direction. She's like, just so you know, like, I was there. I fought. There were these badass queens. And they were way braver than you bitches. The balls! The sheer balls. Like, she's like, the women who stood behind me back then would be ashamed of all of you, is what she said. And I was like, that's really not the best way to stroke their ego, but, you know, you do you. Like,
but she knows that she has weight based on what we still don't know of her role in that last war. She knows that she is infamous, that she has a power and a respect to her name that she tries to wield here, and it surprisingly still didn't work, because they were all very scared of her.
It falls flat. They were kind of like, it almost feels like they're being controlled by an outside force, and they were like, yeah, I know what's going to happen if we get involved in this, and it's not going to be good for us, and you're not going to be the winning side. They already have this pre-decided notion of what's going to happen, and they're like, I'm just going to go with the lesser of two evils that's going to not fuck me over, and we're all going to die.
Yeah.
But they, of course, don't outright say no to the Inner Circle and the Archeron sisters. They say that if the Inner Circle can provide some form of good intention, some truth that will, I guess, reveal how they plan on using the book, that they would consider, and really not even say yes, just consider giving the Inner Circle the other book to defeat.
They gave him a carrot. I will say, Nesta really impressed the pants off of me.
Was it Elaine or Nesta that stood up to the Mortal Queens too?
It was Nesta who stood up to them, but when they left, Elaine says, I hope they burn in hell. Like, Elaine said that!
We love the sisters.
I do love the sisters. This was the first time that I actually started to kind of change my feelings about Nesta, because the last time we saw her, she was, I hate to say this, a BTIC.
She was
She was awful to Feyre.
Again, I am a Nesta, and I would murder her. And fuck, marry, kill, dead. Not even thinking about it.
No, she was very mean about Feyre's transformation, about the situation she's putting them in. Yeah, she was being. But this was the first one. She's like, "Hey, there are babies over here, and families, and me." Like,
see a very Nesta reaction.
I was just very impressed with her. Like, I mean, in this respect, she's just the host. She is just the person who owns the place that they're meeting at. She doesn't have any political sway, you know? She's just there to be there.
So now the Inner Circle has to wrestle with the idea of revealing the location of Valaris for the first time.
In order to potentially, like, it's a long shot, in order to potentially get the other half of the
It's not even guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah, these women are barely willing to play the game, unfortunately.
But that's all for now.
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
It was a good section.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a lot coming up.
Lots of big shifts, I think.
Lots of spice coming.
It's about to go down.
I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to figure out what the Mortal Queen's intentions are.
I mean, obviously they're going to give Valeris away, and it's
Yeah.
totally going to go to shit.
Yep.
That's just a given.
They're
the setup is there.
Mm-hmm.
I have this feeling they're going to be like, oh, cool, well, we're not giving it to you anyways.
Thanks for telling us. Peace.
Yeah, and whatever the setup is, they're handing over their most vulnerable spot.
I think that Rhys and Feyre are going to, like,
Finally get it
slowly,
on?
like, inch towards that
It's about time.
threshold.
It's about time.
Mm-hmm. I also think that we are gonna head out.
I'm sorry, guys. I have somewhere to be.
Spuddy has to go. Thank you so much for reading with us. Swags, what is our next set of chapters?
Our next set of chapters will be chapter 41 to the end of section 2, and we will read through chapter 51.
51. That's, you heard it here. 41 to 51.
You heard it.
You heard it. You heard it here
first.
Here's her.
You just found out as I just found out.
Now get yourself some paper cups and get yourself some paper cuts and get moving. We'll see you next time.
All right, you guys ready?
Bye.
Oh wait, no, we got to do the where we do it in a row.
That's all right.
Bye.
One, two, no.
Wait.
Bye.
Bye.